Hey JPTNation, I'm Journals, and I'm coming to you with another page from my journal where I'm talking about reverse culture shock. This is part two. So, my number four sign that you're dealing with reverse culture shock is you get a feeling of restlessness. So, when you live overseas, um, it's possible to develop a routine and get a sense of normalcy despite dealing with culture shock and all of that. So culture shock doesn't last the whole time that you're away. So when that dies down and you've gotten used to certain things, you develop like certain patterns and habits and you get into your groove. Despite all of that, it's still easy to feel like there's a sense of adventure in a lot of the things that you do for reasons like language barriers and just a whole different way of doing things. So things like going to the movie theaters, the dentist, the doctors, ordering food feels like an adventure that you don't need a passport and a plane ticket to experience. And now that you're back home, the level of excitement is gone. And the restlessness comes in because the sense of learning something new or encountering something different, that excitement in everyday activities is not currently where you are. And so you feel like something's missing. You feel like you need to go somewhere. You feel like you need to experience something. And that's just because you're back home and you know how things work there. Number five on my list of signs that you're dealing with reverse culture shock is that you've changed. So, when we grow up with our friends and our family who we love, um, a lot of our views and opinions about things, they really aren't ours. They're our friends and families that we've taken on as ours. And this might appear in the ways that you dress, the food that you eat, your political views, whatever the case. When you leave and you go to a brand new country, your family and friends, obviously, they're not coming with you. So now our initial reaction to the experiences that we're experiencing in this new country that we're in, they won't be shaped by anyone else's opinion of them first. They're coming straight from us. So now when you return back to your home country, you have a different take on things. Your perspective is just different on a lot of topics. You have new habits you might have developed, just quirks about you didn't have that you have now that you didn't have when you left, and it just differs from everything most of your friends and family remembered you having or believing when you left. You came back a completely different person. Number six on my list is depression. It might hit you right away. It might not hit you right away. You might not even recognize it as depression at first, but it's depression. You might not recognize it as depression at first because you're back home where you used to be happy. You're with friends and family who you missed and you loved. You're back in the environment that you're comfortable in. You're back to having access to food that you've missed. So you don't think that you're going to be depressed, but yeah. So two things happen. The first thing is that maybe when you come back, you get a job and then you find yourself back in the rat race you left to begin with, right? Because life overseas, the work environment overseas, you have more freedom. It's not as stressful as it is here in the States. I don't know how other countries would describe their situations, but here in America, it's a little bit stressful. And so you're back in this rat race and then you're constantly reminded of how things were where you came from. So the second thing, and this kind of branches off two different ways, but they come together. So the second thing is that you come back and you don't have a job. But the thing is that that's okay because you plan to use this free time to think about your next move. But they don't come quick enough, these thoughts. In fact, these thoughts aren't coming at all because you can't think, you can't focus. You when you were away, you just created this like comfort zone for yourself. Um, and depending on where you were, if you were the only foreigner, then there was a type of isolation you got used to. And now you're back home, and you can't focus. You just can't focus. So that happens. The other thing that happens is that you have a plan, but it's just not working out. So you plan everything out. When you get back, you were gonna start this business. You were gonna take maybe 3 months off. You were gonna go here, get this job, or create this for yourself, partner up with that person, and then it just does not happen at all. And you're just like, okay, what am I gonna do now? Because you really thought that was gonna work. So in all of those situations, the depression hits you because you just weren't expecting that type of outcome for yourself. And you might even be tempted to go back to the country you left. All right, JPT Nation, that's all I have for you this week. I hope that you enjoyed my list. I hope that it was beneficial to you or somebody that you know. Next week, I'll be giving you some tips to help ease the tension of reverse culture shock because I can't just give you problems without remedies, right? See you next week.